Hey, we're back. Thanks for joining us again, and we have Jantsch on the show. Many of my dear friends said there's no way I could get him on the show, but we were able to strong arm his publicist and bring him aboard. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
It was absolutely my pleasure. I've hung out here all day, and I guess you finally decided to invite me in.
That's not how we see it at all. Hey, so you and I met. It was during the blizzard of '78, I think. At South by Southwest, and I believe one of us was wearing a boa around it.
Well, I don't know about you, Tim, but I was a high school senior in 1978.
Okay, you're right. You're right.
So it might not have been me. But maybe
I'm thinking somebody else.
Let's fast forward to 2003 or something.
Something like that. Actually, it's probably been later.
Yeah.
But it was you, me, David Meerman Scott,
yeah.
And we were outside of the Four Seasons. And then I don't know if it was your friend or someone came by who was friends with you or David, she was wearing this wild outfit with she always wore a boa. That's her brand.
Yes. I can't remember who it was. I remember that moment though, but I can't remember who that was. I think it might have been a friend of David's. But she did, she got our attention with the boa, and so we consequently
and it worked.
Had a conversation. That's right.
It worked. It's a way of branding, in a way. I think that was her approach. Look, let me ask you this. Since then, or going back a ways, how would you say marketing has changed? You've been writing about this for a while. You've been speaking about this for a while.
Well, I've actually owned my own business as a marketing consultant for almost 30 years, And I mean, if you think about that time frame, we didn't have the internet. So marketing, in a lot of ways, we just didn't have a lot of options. I would run an ad in a magazine, and somebody would call in and order a product or send me a check, and I'd send them a physical 3-ring binder. I was selling information products in the early 2000s, and it was so cool when we got to the point where the CDs, you could actually print your picture on them. It was so cool. And we'd ship it out. And it's amazing. The whole process maybe took 5 weeks for somebody to get their information. Can you imagine that? But, the thing that I always tell people is, the tools and the channels have changed, but it's still all about, solving problems and getting trust enough so that somebody's willing to get their wallet out and making them, the experience so great that they're willing to get it out again.
Yeah.
Those things haven't changed at all. And I think we sometimes lose sight of that fact because it's so easy to just bomb people with messages on Twitter.
There were some core decision-making pieces that just are always going to be with us, that go back to primal needs. Like one of the guys I worked with at Cisco, you move into cloud and how do you sell that and everything. He always went back to, it's an emotive decision.
Yes.
The CIO wants to feel safe about his or her job.
Yeah.
And those things are never going to change. And it's just finding maybe a new way on how you give them that level of comfort that it's a safe decision.
And I think that's why that whole idea of storytelling has become such a big deal in marketing today. But truthfully, it's always been the case. The door-to-door salesperson who was really good at telling stories did a lot better than that person that was just trying to shove product in somebody's face. And so, again, I keep going back to telling folks, the ultimate motivation or motive for why people buy things is to solve a problem that they have. And so if we're not tuning into that first and understanding and promising to solve that problem, then our marketing is going to be seen as a pest as much as anything else.
Yeah, that's right. Is there a way that or is there a very specific tactic that you can share with brands to get them to that point?
Well, the first one is to understand, what those problems are. I tell marketers all the time, nobody wants our websites or SEO or paid ads.
Right.
They don't want any of that stuff. They want the phone to ring.
Yes.
And so, or they want to show up because their competition seems to be ahead of them, or they want to stop having everybody, just try to beat them up on price. We have to understand that that's really what they're suffering from, and all this other stuff is just tools to solve that problem.
Right.
So we sit down with clients, and we ask them questions. We look at reviews. If you're not able to do interviews with your clients, but you're getting reviews, say Google reviews, it's amazing the candid language that people will use in those things, both good and bad, that can tell you a ton, because in a lot of cases that's unsolicited. I decided I had such a great experience. I'm going to go tell the world why I had such a great experience. Pay close attention to those words, because that's probably this problem that you're solving for your ideal client, and it's probably not what you're putting on your website.
That's right. And a lot of times if I'm working on a comedy video for a client, I like, a lot of comedy comes from pain, and I like to go start with the customer's pain point, and I will go exactly to those reviews, and and use them verbatim.
Yeah.
I will try to take the customer's word about what they're struggling with the most, and build a script around that.
Yes.
And it's such a powerful tool, and I think people are still learning to figure out how to use that and help.
And you're right. I mean, some of the negative reviews, even though people hate them, I mean, in some cases, people just need to pay attention because they're doing a bad job. And it's like they're telling you that. I mean, like, I imagine some of your comedy routines. Restaurant. I wouldn't let my dog eat at this place.
Yes.
I mean, people will write stuff like that. Obviously, people are mean, trolls, things like that. But in some cases, negative reviews can actually be feedback that you can and should use and respond to get better.
Yeah. You know what? I think in the past, we do have this tendency, I think just out of insecurity, to sweep over that and delete the review and not do anything about it. But if you do take on that review and embrace it, and you're being vulnerable about your weakness, and maybe even make a video about dogs coming to the restaurant or something, sitting at a table ordering, that totally, I think that creates empathy with your customer. With all of them, especially the one you may have lost.
I was in Austin, I think it was Austin one time. I was walking down the street, somebody had a restaurant, had like the sandwich board thing out front, and said, "Come taste the meatball sub," that one reviewer said was, just really like totally negative.
Yeah.
I thought that was brilliant. I mean, have fun with it.
I think there's a certain amount of confidence that comes from, or that I feel, if a brand's willing to do that, they obviously, and they're not afraid of that review. They're obviously, to me, it says, "Hey, I'm confident about the meatball sub. It's going to be good." And
I think also it adds a level of humanness to it as well. Because I tell people all the time, you don't want all 5-star reviews because nobody's that perfect.
That's right.
and so some of that kind of average stuff is because that's human nature. You're not always going to have a great day. You're not always going to give people a great experience, but it's just an opportunity for you to get better. And, you just got to kind of embrace it and see it for what it is.
And move forward. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, thank you for being on the show. And where can we
can't
find you?
Possibly be up. I'm having too much fun.
You can fit everything in you can in 47 seconds. Hey, how can we reach you?
Sure. Well, so I've been around forever at ducttapemarketing.com, and it's DUCTTAPE marketing.com. Newsletter, podcasts, blog, videos, training, all kinds of junk there. Just go grab it and see if anything catches your eye.
Mouse pads?
No mouse pads.
No mouse pads anymore?
Stress balls.
Oh, we need
Lots
those.
of duct tape.
Yes, we'll take that.
Hello Kitty duct tape even. That's my favorite.
Boom. Thanks for being on the show, man.
My pleasure.
Take care, brother.
All right.